Oh, I just love a little Keep the Cat. It's my favorite album.
Celebrity couples that make us believe love really exists. True love is unusual, especially in the world of showbiz. Today, relationships come and go so quickly that it's impossible to keep up with who's dating who. However, some couples make it down the aisle, raise families, travel the world, and manage to withstand the test of time while remaining madly in love. Let's take a look at the celebrity couples that make us believe love really exists. Starting with Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. The two met when they were only 14 and 20. They were first paired back in 1998 when they played Jackie and Kelso on That 70s Show. As a 14-year-old, Mila had a crush on Ashton, and her very first kiss was a scripted one with him for the show. It would be years before they became a couple in real life. Before they got together, they were both in relationships. Ashton married Demi Moore and eventually announced their divorce in 2011. That same year, Mila broke up with longtime boyfriend Macaulay Culkin after 9 years of dating. In 2012, Mila and Ashton reconnected and hit it off at the 69th Golden Globe Awards. Shortly after that, they shared their first off-screen kiss and started hooking up. Ironically, the year prior, they both were in movies with similar plots about two people trying to make a friends with benefits relationship work. Friends with benefits and no strings attached. They lived their movies out. But the casual sex didn't last long. Feelings were caught, jealousy ensued, and within 3 months, Ashton asked Mila to move in. A source told us he always had a thing for her, and he finally made it happen. By February 2014, Mila was spotted with a Tiffany engagement ring. Mila told W Magazine, "I never wanted to get married. Then things changed. I found the love of my life. We all get movie star crushes. I'm marrying mine." A month after their engagement, it was revealed they were expecting their first child together. They welcomed their daughter Wyatt in October 2014 before marrying on July 4, 2015. A year later, in November 2016, they welcomed their second child, Dimitri. Moving on to Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. Jen and Ben's love story made us all believe in the saying, "What's meant to be will always find its way." The two first met in 2002 while filming the rom-com Geely. Despite their chemistry, the movie ultimately flopped at the box office and was panned by critics. In June 2002, Lopez filed for divorce from second husband Chris Judd, and shortly after, she went public with her relationship with Ben. By November, Jen and Ben got engaged, and their wedding was set for September 2003. They didn't make it to the altar since they called off the wedding a few days beforehand due to excessive media attention. Just 6 months after breaking up, Jen married Mark Anthony, while Affleck found new love and eventually married Jennifer Garner the year after. Neither marriage lasted, and they each got into other relationships. Fast forward 17 years, after the pair broke up, paparazzi captured them spending time together. The pair reportedly had a heart-to-heart talk, which then reignited a spark between them. In People's 2022 love issue, Lopez revealed, "I feel so lucky and happy and proud to be with him. It's a beautiful love story that we got a second chance." By April 2022, the couple had a second official engagement, and by July, the pair finally walked down the aisle and said "I do" in an intimate wedding in Las Vegas. Reflecting on their journey together, J-Lo said, "We did it. Love is beautiful. Love is kind. And it turns out love is patient. 20 years patient." Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Breaking tradition. Through mutual friends, Prince Harry met Meghan in 2016, and it wasn't long before they fell in love. 2 years later, on May 19, 2018, they tied the knot at St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle in England. A year after they got married, the couple welcomed their son Archie. Meghan suffered intense bullying from racist trolls. In a public statement, Harry wrote, "I have been a silent witness to her private suffering for too long. To stand back and do nothing would be contrary to everything we believe in. There comes a point when the only thing to do is to stand up to this behavior, because it destroys people and destroys lives." To protect their life together, the couple made history by deciding to step down permanently as senior members of the royal family. The pair made plans to become financially independent. By the end of March 2020, they officially exited the royal family and moved to Los Angeles. Since then, they have completed their own family by welcoming Lily into the world. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. These two stun on red carpets, and they managed to be the most relatable couple. They first met on the set of Green Lantern in 2010. At the time, they were both in other relationships. They didn't start dating until a year later. "We were buddies for a long time, which I think is the best way to have a relationship, to start as friends," Reynolds said on SiriusXM's Entertainment Weekly Radio Deadpool special in 2016. In September 2012, barely a year after they started dating, Reynolds and Lively married in a low-key, super-secret ceremony in South Carolina, proving that the finest relationships do indeed begin as friends. Since marrying and welcoming 3 kids, the two are solid as ever, and we hope it stays that way. George and Amal Clooney. According to People, George's parents were in attendance the day George met Amal in 2013. His dad told People, "I really think by the time that first meeting was over, his and her fates were sealed." Both of them. The two married a year later in 2014, and they welcomed twins Ella and Alexander 3 years after their wedding. At last, George finally found his match in the human rights attorney, whom he has always praised as being the smart one in their marriage. George told Esquire in 2016, "I've never been happier in a relationship by any stretch of the imagination. At 52, I found the love of my life, and I'm really happy." Chrissy Teigen and John Legend. Chrissy and John first met on the set of his Stereo music video in September 2006, where she played the subject of his affection. Sparks flew on and off screen. After the shoot, the two chatted on the phone for a year while John toured. 5 years later, in December 2011, John proposed to Chrissy during a holiday trip to the Maldives. They married on September 14, 2013. A few years later, Chrissy and John welcomed their daughter Luna in April 2016, and their son Miles in May 2018. After being together for over 15 years, Chrissy and John look so happy with the family they've created. True goals. Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi. Although Portia hadn't publicly spoken about her sexuality when she first met Ellen in 2000, she told Oprah that the moment she saw Ellen, she felt an immediate connection. A few years later, in 2004, their romance blossomed, and they proudly embraced the public. In 2005, Portia stated, "I ran into Ellen at a photo shoot about a year ago, and she took my breath away. That had never happened to me in my life, where I saw somebody and experienced all of those things you hear about in songs and read about in poetry. My knees were weak, and it was very hard for me to get her out of my mind after that. We just were kind of supposed to be together. I just couldn't ignore the feelings I had for Ellen." In 2008, when the Supreme Court of California decided same-sex marriages were legal, the pair got married. Ellen shared with Good Housekeeping magazine, "Portia understands me completely. In our vows, she recited a quote, 'It is good to be loved. It is profound to be understood, and to me, that's everything. What I love you really means is, I understand you, and she loves me for everything that I am. She supports me and makes me happy." Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. In 2005, the actress and singer-songwriter first crossed paths at the G'day USA Gala, an event honoring Australians in Los Angeles. Kidman was immediately smitten. "I remember thinking, I had such a crush on him, and he wasn't interested in me," Kidman told Ellen DeGeneres in 2017. The couple tied the knot in June 2006, just before he entered rehab. With her by his side, he said, "For the first time in my life, I could shake off the shackles of addiction." The couple share 2 daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret. Meeting her and getting married wasn't life-changing. It was life beginning. It was literally like, okay, life starts, Urban told CBS. She told Us Weekly, "Keith and I are very good at immediately clicking off because we have a really good life in Nashville that's very simple, quiet and nourishing because we've made it like that." Jay-Z and Beyoncé. They started dating in 2000 when she was still performing with Destiny's Child. She was only 18, and by the time she was 19, they began dating. She told Oprah, "We were friends first for a year and a half before we went on any dates. That foundation is so important for a relationship. Just to have someone who you just like is so important, and someone who is honest." By 2002, they released their first collaboration, '03 Bonnie and Clyde, which reached number 4 on Billboard Hot 100. And a year later, they released Crazy in Love, which was a number 1 hit. Bey and Jay quickly became a powerhouse couple and successfully pulled off a secret wedding in 2008. They welcomed their first daughter, Blue Ivy, in 2012 and later had twins, Rumi and Sir Carter, in 2017. In her 2013 autobiographical film, Life is But a Dream, Beyoncé said, "Jay and I are a team. This baby has made me love him more than I ever thought I could love another human being." She added, "It's just that I love him so much that we almost feel like one. I don't know how to describe it. No matter the rumors or scandals that have come up to light, these two seem unbreakable." Michelle and Barack Obama. Throughout their 8 years in the White House, Michelle and Barack showed the entire world what love and respect between two people look like. However, their love story began in 1989 when they worked together at a Chicago law firm when he was only 28 and she was 25. Michelle started off as his mentor, but that didn't stop him from asking her on a date. Michelle told The Telegraph, "He showed all the sides. He was hip, cutting edge, cultural, and sensitive." After 2 years of dating, they got engaged on July 31st, 1991. 1 year later, the couple tied the knot, October 3rd, 1992, at Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago. They welcomed their first daughter, Malia, in 1998. 3 years later, they welcomed their second daughter, Natasha, also known as Sasha. Obama told Essence, "They've seen how Michelle and I interact. Not only the love, but also the respect that I show to their mom. So I think they have pretty high expectations about how relationships should be, and that gives me some confidence about the future." Which of these couples do you think are true love goals? And which couples do you want to hear more about? Let us know by leaving a comment down below.
funniest thing was my mom and dad were visiting, so my parents were there. And we just talked, and we stayed up all night talking.